William, you just quoted the published text chapter heading as part of your argument. Let's listen to it again, which is retarded. That's a bad sign. So I was going to kind of like be really nice and try to help you. I was going to like defend you, but I couldn't do it. I was going to try anyway, but I'm not going to because you interrupted me. Either way, let's listen to him again. He uses the chapter heading as part of his argument.
Let's be very clear here. There's a distinction between God the Father and God the Son. Here he notes Moses, then, the blessed and faithful servant of God, declares.
Sorry, I didn't go back far enough. Okay, listen really close right here. I believe William Albrecht. Okay, see again, this chapter heading right here, chapter 56, God who appeared to Moses. This is why I said that earlier. I had forgotten that didn't occur to me that he actually went back and read it. But I just heard him. Remember earlier I said, I was giving him credit, right? I was giving him credit because he put this Justin and colon here instead of the quote, which separates, right? It shows he's showing you Justin starts right here when he says Moses, then the blessed. But he just read the chapter heading. Look, listen to him again. He's going to read right here. God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father as part of his argument.
God the Father. So let's be very clear here. And what he believed about Christ in chapter 56 in his dialogue with Trypho.
Hey, listen, okay? He's going to do it right here. He just said in chapter 56 of his dialogue with Trypho.
He notes, God who appeared to Moses is.
He notes. He just misquoted Justin. Yes, he did. And he does it because he knows that this God the Father caption here, like he's actually even the same color. You should have made that a different color, William. Credit for the Justin and colon, but then you're in the middle of it. You keep doing it. Listen.
Is distinguished from God the Father. So let's be very clear here.
Okay, and he just read it. He just finished that statement and saw where Justin begins speaking. So, William, I believe you deliberately lied here. Maybe not initially. Like I was saying, maybe you looked up higher than you should have. But you just finished that. There's no period at the end of Father. So your eyes would have immediately went over to the left to see if the sentence continued. You guys see that up here where it says chapter 56, God who appeared to Moses? That's not Justin. No. Now, it was confusing. We'll see if Jake noted that as well, but it was pretty, again, it was one of those things that you either catch or you don't. And unfortunately, William, we did. Shame on you, William. So here we are. You can look this up also, right, in the printed text editions. It's right here. So it's very clear. No dispute about it in terms of what William is doing. I'll put that here like that. Doesn't close on me. See right there, chapter 56. God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father. That's not Justin Martyr. No, that's the book that publishes what Justin says. It's like a heading, that most people who understand these things, it's really unacceptable. Now that I saw that William knew he was not quoting Justin and didn't catch himself, I'll show that to you again. I thought initially I'm a nice guy. I was trying to give people a pass because I don't think it's helpful to just try to hammer, right? If you don't have a legitimate reason. But he's quoting the chapter heading as part of his argument. Now, he doesn't just do that, though. He really, he doesn't just quote it as part of like a running, maybe it got caught in the middle of like a paragraph, It's not only separate and set apart on its own. He not only separated it and set it apart on its own, right? He literally put the words Justin and then colon below where the chapter 56 heading is. the words in the heading are in italics, and there's no period after father. So why did he stop reading? Because he realized he wasn't reading Justin. I think you are lying here, William. I think you deliberately took advantage. If you weren't, you would have caught yourself right there and said, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I read just a sentence too soon. And then you would have resumed. You would have resumed and said, okay, I don't need that anyway. I'm going to read that. You're going to read the Trinity in it anyway, right? I mean, yes, it was helpful to have God the Father distinguished from God the Father. That's very Trinitarian, right? One problem. Justin doesn't say those words. Did you know that, William? You know you're supposed to be like this patristic scholar. You know patristics, right, William? Patristics, pillars. Patristic pillars. Catholic? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just really glad that I have this opportunity now, and I'm really thankful to people like Sam for inciting righteous indignation, and people like William who, make you have to point things out. But I'm even more appreciative of Jake, of course, whom we haven't gotten to yet, because the difference you're going to see between William and him is incredible. So, William, shame on you for lying and realizing you were at least reading incorrectly, and then double downing on it by not correcting yourself here. That would have been the right thing to do, don't you think, William? Don't you think, William, you owe Jake an apology, and everyone who listened to you an apology? Let's listen to how he presented this. This was a big deal. William really went to town. This is a problem. Here we go, William.
And what he believed about Christ. In chapter 56, in his dialogue with Trifle, he notes, God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father. So let's be very clear here. There's a distinction between God the Father and God the Son. Here he notes Moses.
You see that? Did you see what William did? He literally not only used the caption of the chapter heading, that's very Trinitarian because it's a Trinitarian who wrote it, right? That's how they caption things, even if it doesn't agree with them. So he quotes that and uses it as part of his argument. Then he realizes, right? He literally stops. Did you catch that? Like, we're going to watch it again. This is a big problem. Sorry, not sorry, William, because I don't agree with you. Like I tried to tell you the other day, why you get so upset and angry with people shows you're not really fit for this. That alone, right? Your disposition. Now, you did okay with Jake, but you're very insulting coming up. Not necessarily tonight in the opening statements. This is probably your best. You still get a little conditioning, but it's really later that you get more offensive. But you're not quite on Sam's level. You definitely have anger issues, and you don't know your place. You came into the wrong room, William. Okay. So William just misquoted Justin the Martyr, and we need to make sure we tell everybody about that. I'll make sure I have a separate clip about William Albrecht deliberately misquoting Justin Martyr during his debate with Jake Brancatella, and then double downing on it because when he realizes he just read the caption heading, look at what he does. Listen to him. Listen to what he did. This is bad. Okay. So, nevertheless, that's just a few seconds. So it's very important. Listen to him again. He's going to misquote Justin Martyr. William, the great Catholic apologist who should know better, misquotes Justin Martyr, realizes he misquotes him, and then doesn't correct himself and instead adds a Trinitarian exposition. Listen.
What he believed about Christ. In chapter 56, in his dialogue with Trifle, he notes, God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father. So let's be very clear here. There's a distinction between God the Father and God the Son.
Let's be very clear here. William wants us to be very clear on his misquotation. So I'm going to do that, William. I'm going to be very clear here that you are right here misquoting Justin Martyr. Do you see that, William? I'm going to play it one more time, okay? because we want the whole world to remember this unbelievable lie. It's not really an error, because how could it be an error if you finish one sentence that's distinct from what Justin actually says by italics and the chapter heading? How can you finish that doesn't have a period and see Justin with a colon and not see what you did? You'd have to be, right, there's no way. I was going to say you'd have to be blind, or there's no reason to bring up those extreme alternatives. You lied, William. You're looking right at the text. You understand? You're staring right, you're reading it. Right? Are you? Is that you, William? Yeah. You're there and you're reading it and you're misquoting it. So what happened here? How did the caption heading of the chapter of Justin's dialogue with Trypho 56, how did that become part of Justin's belief? I'm wondering how you did that. It'd be very interesting to me to know how you do those things. I'm going to expect that you're going to make a retraction, right? That you lied and included a chapter heading from the published copy that's not Justin's words, and you made that part of Justin's arguments. But then you not only did that, you went on and claimed, you said, let's be very clear here. We're going to listen to it again. Listen. He misquotes it, looks over and sees he misquoted it, and then lies about it being what Justin said. He introduces it as what Justin taught, misquotes the chapter heading, stops and sees he misquoted it, and then runs with it and adds more Trinitarianism to condition his audience about something Justin never wrote.
He refers to the Angelos, the Malach Yahweh, and what he believed about Christ. In chapter 56, in his dialogue with Trypho, he notes, God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father. So let's be very clear here.
Let's be very clear here.
There's a distinction between God the Father and God the Son.
Yeah, only Justin didn't make that distinction, William. Yeah, and he doesn't make it in those terms in what follows either. No, it's a separate distinction, like we were talking about earlier, numerically, like totally separate. That's what he means by numerical. We'll get to it. Jake did a great job. But it's very important here, everyone, because again, remember what I told you about the audience conditioning, right? He didn't begin with any kind of presentation of what the Trinity is so that we could, we see what he says the Trinity is, and therefore we should be able to see that in Justin. That's the easiest way to show somebody who teaches something, right? I'm going to claim he teaches this, and so you'll see this in what we read. And then if it is, well, there you go. So, no, we get all these word substitutions, God for person, stuff like that. Father for person. And then we get William lying and saying that Justin Martyr wrote, God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father. And then he breaks from there when he realizes he was misquoting it and doubles down on it and adds more. Right. He said, we need to be very clear here. You understand? We're looking at this and he's reading it and he's the one who brought it in and set it up, and he's the great Justin Martyr Catholic scholar, I guess. Right. And then he just adds more. One more time. It was so good. One more time, William. Let's hear it.
He refers to the Angelos, the Malach Yahweh, and what he believed about Christ. In chapter 56, in his dialogue with Trypho, he notes, God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father. So let's be very clear here. There's a distinction between God the Father and God the Son.
Okay, William, I'm going to be very clear here. Everything you just said is not in Justin, okay? So you're very clear about what? Are we talking about Justin or what? No, of course, we're talking about the Trinity and what you're reading into it. So much so, you're literally using words he doesn't write, right? Not even translated words. They're like words that are not Justin's words. You're literally using as part of your argument because they sound Trinitarian. That's the only reason I can think of why you would do this. There's no way you couldn't see at this point you misquoted it. I'd be willing to let you again say initially you looked up too high. Okay, unlike you, I understand that things happen, but what happened after you actually read just one sentence with no end period that takes you right to where Justin actually starts talking? Why didn't you see that and think, oh, my bad, I read the chapter heading, right? You can take things, but you don't have to have everything right. Did you know that, William? You just have to be an honest person, right? You have to not lie. As long as you don't lie, William, and you correct yourself, people do that. It actually happens. People misreference or say things, but they don't, of course, I think here, that's not, you're the more deliberate here, William, right? This is not an offhanded comment. This isn't even a synonym. No, these are added words to Justin Martyr's writing, followed by commentary on those words that has nothing to do with what he taught. Because it's all Trinitarian. Because it's from the caption, hey, not Justin. And from you, a Trinitarian.
Here he notes, Moses, then, the blessed and faithful.
Okay, now he's actually reading Justin, okay? He just started that.